Okay, so Ahsoka Tano, episode 3. Did not like it. Did not like it. There were a couple things I did like, and I'll talk about those in a second. But overall, another pretty lackluster, pretty disappointing entry in this Dave Filoni, Disney, Lucasfilm, Disney Plus production. So what I liked, I like Huyang a lot. David Tennant does a great job with his voice, and he's hilarious and always a breath of fresh air. He's very brutally honest and funny and fills that droid role very well. They do a good job with him. Chopper's great too, but he's not really in this episode. I like the space whales, the Purgle, I think is how it's said. Space whales. They, at one point, Ahsoka and Sabine and Huyang are escaping from the bad guys, and they fly through a herd of space whales flying through space. It's really cool. The special effects are great. It's really neat. It's like I wish that had happened at a moment where I wasn't super frustrated with everything else that was going on. Like if that had been the climax to some really awesome episode, and we'd had this beautiful moment with these crazy huge whales. Here's a side thought also. I wrote an article recently about how mediocrity is actually relentless mediocrity is killing Star Wars. And I talk about how a lot of these shows would be better off as movies. I talk about how the streaming zeitgeist has led to lower quality productions. Like there are some really good ones still, but overall we've seen a decline in quality. And sort of this combination of factors that has led sort of Star Wars to sort of, there's other factors too, because obviously like the sequel movies left much to be desired. But there's been a conspiracy of different things that have led to sort of the decline of Star Wars, with very rare exceptions of like Andor, the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian, and so forth. But imagine if this had been a movie where you first saw the Star Wars space whales, or at least in this much detail, had been in a movie theater on a really big screen, in an awesome like midpoint through the movie, you get to this crazy scene with these whales. We're not getting that on our home televisions. I have a very nice TV and a very nice sound system, and even so, it's not the same as being in a movie theater. And I'm wondering also if Ahsoka, after 3 episodes, I'm wondering if it has enough content to fill up 8 episodes. In 3 episodes, very little has happened. They found a magic map. They figured out how to work it. It got taken back by the bad guys. They figured out that where the bad guys were going. They headed there. They got there. They got in a fight, and they ran away. I feel like that could be 1 episode of a TV show. One solid 45-minute episode. Instead, we have 3 episodes filled with a lot of boring filler. And in this episode, we have, the training scenes with Ahsoka and Sabine, and they're just, first of all, in a couple scenes, including this one, they're paralleling it with A New Hope, right? We have the Obi-Wan and Luke training scene with the blind visor thing, and then we have that same thing happening with Ahsoka and Sabine, but just in a much less interesting, more dragged out way. And then you have the scene where they're in the space fight with Shin and her really actually pretty cool ships, but Sabine is in the gunner turret, and she's missing every shot. When she finally gets one, she's like, woo, yay! And Ahsoka's in the pilot seat, the cockpit, and it's kind of like a mirror of Han and Luke, but without, like, even a thimbleful of the charisma. I found, like, the training sequence, on the one hand, I like that Sabine is not just, like, awesome at Jedi stuff right away, and that maybe she won't ever be. It's kind of cool that they kind of are showing that, like, not everyone can just pick it up, and it's almost like a dig at Rey and the movies, which I kind of like. I won't lie, like that's one of the highlights of this episode. But it just went on so long, and I think the biggest problem is that Rosario Dawson feels extremely stiff, like a wooden plank. Like she's just not great, and I know she can act better than this, and I'm not sure if it's direction. One reader suggested it's the prosthetics and the face paint, like the head thing, and it makes her feel very stiff, like she's just can't turn her head and can't smile. So that might be part of it, but she's not very expressive. The one expression she seems to have down is smug. And so it's like flat and smug. And she's just kind of a dull, kind of obnoxious character at this point. I like Sabine a lot better, and Hera. Ahsoka's like my least favorite character in the show right now. The bad guys are still the best. Balin had only one scene at the very end and still commanded more presence than pretty much anyone in the show. Yeah, if I could pick, I'd take the droids and the bad guys and make a show about them. That would be a good show. The New Republic is continued. They're continuing to show them as a bunch of incompetent idiots. I don't love that. I would much rather have the New Republic trying hard and to do the right thing, or at least have like factions, at play. But it just seems like Mon Mothma just capitulates to these senators without putting up any kind of fight. And that whole scene was kind of weird. Like when they say, "Can we have the room for a minute?" All the real people in the room leave instead of the holographic people just turning off the holograph. Wouldn't that be easier? So yeah, the space battle itself was really lackluster. I don't know how one ship can withstand that many blaster hits. They're like down to 10% after getting hit by like 6 ships and the hyperspace rings, turbo lasers. I don't know. That just doesn't seem like your typical Star Wars. Like just, in Star Wars, ships do go down if they get hit enough. And this was like one ship taking all the damage and still managed to get through. And yeah, it gets taken out for a minute and then stops in mid-space, even though there's no friction, so it wouldn't stop. It would just keep going. And then Ahsoka gets out to fight Shin and her spaceships with her lightsabers in outer space, which may be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a Star Wars thing. I mean, it is literally... Okay, Obi-Wan hiding Leia under his jacket was dumber, but this was up there. This is pretty dumb. Like, you can't stop that level of blasters with a lightsaber. Like, they're way too strong. And also, all those bad guy ships could just stop, aim, and fire. They don't need to keep driving by. Their ship isn't moving. They can just stop and shoot. And they can shoot the ship instead of the Jedi standing on the ship. That was a terrible scene. Laughably bad. And then after that, you get some funny stuff from Huyang, and then after that, you get the space whales. It's like, forget about how you're distracted by how stupid that was with the cool stuff that comes after. All told, just like really, really disappointing so far, this show. I did have high hopes for it. Admittedly, though, those diminished quite a bit after watching Mandalorian Season 3, and my hype turned to dread, and my dread is being realized episode by episode. So, kind of unfortunate. I would love to have more great Star Wars. I know a lot of people think that like people are just complaining about Star Wars to complain about something, or just getting clicks because of the hate or whatever. But I genuinely would much rather have awesome Star Wars than to bitch about mediocre or bad Star Wars. I would have more fun like really enjoying the shows than hating on them. So, don't blame fans, don't blame critics. Right now, this is a problem with the people making these programs and doing a bad job of it. And maybe Ahsoka will get better. I don't know. But right now, no hope. Not a new hope. Just a no hope. And a nope. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And I'll see you next time. Peace.